FM.
My conscience is telling me.
What's up, guys? Tasteless is back here for the GSL Code A. This series has been kind of weird, and I think that's okay because it gives us an opportunity to really talk about how you need to play a best of 5, right? Super has a really good build, okay? I'm not saying it's a bad build. The problem is he keeps doing it over and over, and I try not to be too critical on these guys, but I'd be interested in seeing if he was interviewed what his thought process is with this build, because it was clearly fine on map 2. It was not good on map 3. It was not really something you could take advantage of on map 1. So like on map 4, Vonnie Research Station, first of all, this map's so completely different and totally weird. But I would also, I'll go out on a limb here and say I think this build's not good on this map either, because it's just this big-ass open field. Terran, that's what Terran wants, right? Protoss can go play single player all day, massing up like this. But when you got to actually have like a plan on how you're going to poke one of their bases. I mean, so much of StarCraft 2 is sort of like, okay, I hit him when they get this base, or I wait here. Anyways, let's see what happens. Good luck to Super. Maybe he's got a different build. Maybe he's going to make it work. I don't know. In the top center, in the red, he is
CJ Entus Byung.
bottom center in the blue.
KT Roaster Super.
All right, sit tight. I gotta drink some water here, guys. I'm getting a little bit raspy here. A little scratchy in the throat. Anyways, so what build does Super do? This is a map, by the way. There's so many cool things you can do. These maps weren't always around. And I'm just sorry to clarify here. It's the backdoor base thing. I remember when I first saw this way back when I was a younger nerd back in my competitive Brood War days, but I got so excited when I saw maps like this because I thought, oh wow, this just changes everything. A backdoor base. Now, there were also more island maps back then, but a lot of pro gamers take big issue with island maps because it is such a radically different style of play. That a lot of people feel like it's unfair. Okay, like they're playing with money on the line. I guess unless you're to make an island map tournament or something like that. But yeah, it's a cool map to see. And like I said, there's a lot of different stuff you can do. But I don't think that build we saw last game is viable on this map. That's my thoughts, guys. Those are my feelings. But I mean, who knows? It could have been a setup where Super says, and I guess we'll never truly know the answer to this, but it could be a game where he actually says, no, I really actually will do this build every time. He might have only planned on doing it the first 3 games, or he might have planned on doing it every single game, but stops this time around. I'm not entirely sure. I wasn't sure if the coach was going in there and talking to Super, because that is, I don't think maybe we put enough emphasis on it, but I don't think that people truly appreciate what when a coach goes in there and goes, dude, like, don't or drop the build. Obviously, the player doesn't have to listen, but I think it is important to say, I think you need to cheese him, or you need to mix it up, or even if it's just a pep talk. But if coaches are going in there on the breaks and talking to him, I'd be very curious what the conversation is, because right now I'm fairly confident Byung's coach is going in there and saying, yeah, he just keeps doing that expand Robo Colossus tech build. And I do feel that Byung is actually kind of shifted his gears correctly here. He's not doing anything, and this is not a diss, but not doing anything really interesting early on, right? He's just, like with the Reaper here, he's just checking out, scoping out Super's base and going, okay. So far it looks like the same thing. Just going to look for any differences, and I'm going to try to punish it. And that's what a good StarCraft player should do. And so far, by the way, I mean, it's looking like the same build. So, I don't know. Anyways, guys, it's good to have you here for this solo cast. This is how I started I know when Artosis is here, I tend to do more hosting, more different build. I'll get to that in a second. I tend to do more like hosting the show, stuff like that. I enjoy kind of doing hosting for TV shows too. But back when I started, I was more the analysis mode there. I had people like DJ Wheat who would host cast, but I mean it's kind of fun to come back and do both roles and everything like that. But I don't think you're going to be seeing many more solo casts in the future just because it's not good for the voice, or I think the brain, or I think the brain for that matter. So we have this Stargate build here, and hold up, did he see that? Let me check on the preview PC. Whoops, got a Terran unit. Okay, he hasn't seen the Stargate yet, and he actually is not going to get over there, so he doesn't necessarily know. And this is Phoenix's, guys. That's pretty cool. Now, okay, there you go. I thought he was going to rally that into the main. I'm like, no, please don't do that. He's gonna pool them. He's gonna bank up Phoenix's, and he is gonna go right over there and blindside Byung. Ruh-roh. He has got one medevac coming out here. He's probably still thinking it's the same build, right? He's thinking, oh, this scrub, this guy is always doing the same build, and I'm going to show you I got so many different ways I can handle this. But with Phoenix's, I mean, there's not even Marines in there. There's 2 Hellions and then 2 Widowmines. This is like exactly what Super needs. And hello! So he wants to pick up, yep, just like that. All right, looks like the Phoenixes are working out, like they're bench pressing the Widowmines. He gets one. Oh, he's gonna get the probes. Damn, 5 probes. Okay, well, not the best execution. And now Hellions are here, and I mean, I harped on builds too, but I mean it is execution as well, right? So that was a good amount of damage. That's 17 workers. And this Widowmine's still here. Oh no! Yeah, he knows roughly. He should actually unburrow it and move it over there to the gas. All right, well he gets that anyways. Actually, no, he shouldn't have unburrowed that. That's way too low on HP. I retract that. Stim is about halfway done here. And we got the Colossus tech just kind of on the way here as well. And that's okay. He still has a good amount of Phoenixes, and the Phoenixes really do change a lot, right? The Phoenixes make the harass more difficult. They make the Vikings a bit more under threat, even though the Vikings are normally with the army. Sometimes they're not, and it's good just to have something that can kind of respond to that. And of course, if you get into one of these big battles, right, where your Colossus ball is just crashing into their army, and the Vikings are trying to gun it down, you got Phoenixes there to hit it as well. Also, these are active units. In other words, the more you move them around and do stuff with them, usually the more value you get out of them. So this is a good switch. I mean, yes, we have a Forge and Colossus coming up here, but it really is not at all the same thing. It's a different game. And so I think from here, Byung can't actually move out. I think this is where, and this is why it's so important, is then he gets to play the defense game. Byung has to, actually. Doesn't get to, he has to. That's the burden of the builds we got here before us. And I think this is a good call. Good adjustment. It would have been very sad if he did the same thing and then he got wrecked even harder. That would have just been that would have been too bad. So Super just sits back. He's going to just keep powering out the upgrades and getting more gateways here. Didn't really expect Super, if he did do a different build, to do the Phoenixes, but I'm pretty happy to see it. So concussive shells and combat shields are almost done. And from there, it's I guess it's it's just going to come down to Terran. It's probably going to be defense, I think, for like the next 5 minutes. I really don't see any value in attacking. Byung might poke. He gets a few more turrets up. He might poke out, but not to kill, and probably not to drop, but to just make sure that maybe Byung gets a third base before Terran gets a third base as well. So okay, I think that's what we're having here. So this is not a move where he should try to go in and kill. Then again, I guess Phoenixes combined with the fact that he's sticking to Colossus, maybe Terran does have enough. Let's see here. I mean, what is the unit that, just think for yourself, see if you can answer this right away. What is the unit that Protoss doesn't have right now that makes this game special? It's sentries. They don't have sentries, which is, I mean, the most ridiculous unit in the game because it can stop fights. And you see here, he's got like 1 or 2, but this is not enough for the purpose of force fields. He doesn't have like a big chunk like we've seen plenty of times before. And so, you got to be very careful now. In this case, Super actually did a decent job. He actually backed up, but for force fields on this map with this expansion, yeah, you don't really have the sentry advantage. So, Super did a good job, though. He backed up, he went down that corner, and he used the minerals that were over there on the left side, and then the ledge on the right side, kind of where his Cybernetics core is hugging, over here on the bottom of the screen. And he used that sort of as an obstruction to make the arc that the Marines and Marauders would have not as strong. So the Phoenixes are just going to keep moving around the map here, which is great, especially for stuff like the Watchtower like we see here. Terran really doesn't, I mean, they could put their army over that Watchtower, but that's not really the key location because Protoss can then still go around them. They need to be over here on this left side of the map. And we're going to have an engagement here. And with 3 Colossus, yeah, Terran definitely wants to back up. It would actually be like a Protoss misclick there. But he has sort of baited him out. Oh my god, there's an observer there. No, this is... You got to scan your army from time to time. See, he's checking his own army for the observer, saying is it there, but the actual... One of the observers was over where that was picked up. Oh, man. Okay, so he spots this over here. And Byung's going to try to just flatten the Protoss out because Protoss did like a double tech. He did Phoenixes and Colossus, so he doesn't have like a lot to stretch out. He can be spread too thin pretty easily. But Phoenixes do punish this if the drop is not successful. Oh, man. If he gets that Robo, that would be fantastic. Phoenixes spot the drop from over here. He boosts. He does lose 1 medevac. Coming down here now, unloading. And this is pretty brutal. The attack is not really, you know, it's not doing that much for Terran, but let's also keep in mind here that Terran was maxed out during that attack. And Protoss, you know, they did lose some army bits, nothing too major, but, I mean, they did lose enough to slow him down. Now, he's making 2 Robo Bays because, you know, obviously he's reliant on Colossus, but I think from here, like, if you turned off my PC and I just had to predict the rest of the game, I think there's just no way that Super should be able to win. If I had to bet right here, I'd say no. Probably shouldn't happen. The time it's going to take for him to get more Robos, and he should be able to expand, I think, potentially even to the base over here on the upper right. Byung should be. But let's see. You know, sometimes there's 1 or 2 engagements that go wrong. The other thing to factor in here is Byung's hit that amount of minerals and max out where he actually starts to get extra command centers. He starts to make just a lot of ghosts as well. And that's the problem is even though I think a lot of times people look at this and they think, well, no, Super's okay because he's going to catch up in supply, right? But Byung has, first of all, the map. Then, you know, you see these ridiculous max. It's like when Zerg gets to bank up a bunch of larvae, you know? Eventually Terran just gets to make a bunch of command centers and start landing mules. It's just so many scans. Protoss can't really get much of an opportunity. We've got Widow Mines coming down here. And the smart thing about doing the Widow Mine drop here as well is that, well, unless I get picked up, but the idea of why that might be good is that since he's making Colossi out of 2 Robo Bays, I mean, how many observers does he have? And let me actually answer my own question with that. How many? He only has 3. I mean, you think at least one of those is somewhere on the map trying to spot for drops. Actually, let me check. Where are his observers? Hold on. Okay, there's 1 up in the center. And there's 1 back here in the bottom right base. Actually, there's 2. 2 out on the map, 1 in the base. So, I mean, Widow Mines are still pretty viable here. And, I mean, really, yes, there are observers out there. Anybody who's played Protoss knows it's actually really easy to miss stuff with observers anyways. There's just, I mean, they don't have like a huge vision range, and they die like about as fast as probes. So, now coming down here, he's just going to go ahead and try to hit this base. Phoenixes can't quite engage this because the blob is just like so big. Now the Vikings are going to come over here. Now note, he is going for the Colossus. I think that was a bit of a miscontrol there with that, but it might not matter. I mean, Byung is just at this point in time where I don't know if he can die. Now, we need to see, yeah, here we go. Stim, just jump on those Colossi and back out. Marines and Marauders are totally fine to sack for Colossi. If you're ahead like this, I would sack Marines and Marauders for days, man. Armor nearly done. Oh, nice dodge. Not totally clear here. I don't think Super can counterattack. I think he knows that too. See, this is one of the problems when you do, and it's not the same build as the other game, but this is kind of one of the problems with a big open map like this when you do builds like this. I mean, Marines and Marauders, I mean, guys, they got stim, they got range, they're inexpensive, concussive shells are a bitch to deal with, and they remake easily. So, but you know, with Protoss, you've got to kind of really tippy-toe around the map here because you lose the Colossi, it's bad. Even the Vikings, the Medivacs, is more important as they are as the Marines and Marauders and harder to make. They're still easier to get than the Colossi. So he comes in here again, stims up, spreads out, and this is a really big amount of Zealots. A lot of the Stalkers were shot down over there in the front, but the surround here is looking really good right now for Byung. I mean, he did a good amount of damage to those Colossi, but he lost a lot of his army. Now, if we note here, the supplies seem pretty close, but Terran mostly has more SCVs, which might be a problem. With that engagement, does Super now have enough to punish? Let's see, it's mostly Zealots. We got to factor in, like, there's planetaries. Zealots by themselves aren't actually that good. They need, like, Colossi behind them. And he just got that Colossi. So this is tier 1 units. There's 2 sentries, so it's like, maybe you got one shot with a force field. But if you can get in here, maybe you can do some damage. SimCity here, pretty good. Landing the Vikings, as Byung's probably identified. All he has to do is hold this. By the way, there's an expansion over there at the upper right. And a time warp, and yeah, you look right there at the bottom of the screen. Saw Super sink in his chair. Yep, that's it, GG. GG, Byung moves on. Nice series. A lot you can learn from that about, you know, PvT, about the matchup. But also just about how you play a best of 5 and how do you really engage the structure of the map. I think even sometimes when you talk to people who are actually really good at StarCraft, sometimes they don't know what they're talking about in regards to the map. And not to say that I always know or something, but I mean, you got to know, you got to engage the map. I think he did a good job adjusting back there, but Byung is just too well of an adjusted player. He knew how to take advantage of the maps that he had. They were open. Even that one engagement where it might have looked like it wasn't going well, you got to remember there's not much, you know, just kind of geographical crap in the way of the fight. Stim Marine Marauder can get such a good arc. It doesn't matter if the Colossi lasers, you know, cover a decent amount of ground. They can just get a horseshoe shaped attack around you, and you just die. So it was a 3-1 win here for Byung, and yeah, I mean, congrats to him. So far today, Truth and Byung moving on out of this group here, and I mean, really, I think not much else to say. I think it was summarized pretty well in a lot of the downtime in those games. Byung's going to move on to Code S. That's exciting. He was always one of our best Terrans in the last few seasons, so I look forward to casting his games. We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, we'll be going on to our final best of 5 here today at the GSL.